Hi there! Today I'm here with a video all about why you need a beauty blender if you don't already have one. If you do already have one, you're probably still going to learn some new tricks from this. If you don't know what a beauty blender is, it's basically a sponge that you apply makeup with, but it's unlike any other sponge on the market. There are dupes and copies of this sponge by now, but I am here to tell you that none compare to the original beauty blender. There is something truly special about this, and if you're going to invest in anything, just spend the $20 and get the beauty blender. You'll be glad you did. So I've done videos on the beauty blender before. It's not new. This is not a new video for me, but I've been listening to some podcast interviews recently with the founder of Beauty Blender, Rayanne Silva, and I just felt like re-inspired and reinvigorated to talk about the Beauty Blender because I realized just how versatile it is and how it makes everyday woman's makeup routine just so much more efficient. It's faster, it makes your results look more polished and professional, and even though Rayanne is a makeup artist and so am I think the everyday woman needs this tool more than anybody because it's going to do so much for you, as you will see. So in this video I'm going to show you seven different ways to use the Beauty Blender in your makeup routine. This is the electric violet version, and I don't know if they make that one anymore, but the original is bright pink. They have black, they have white, they have all sorts of colors now, so pick the color you want. Just get a Beauty Blender and then keep watching this video because we're just going to celebrate this awesome tool, and I think you're either going to remember why you love it so much or you're going to go to Sephora.com and put one in your cart right now. First use is for foundation, and that's probably what most people use their Beauty Blender for, if not the other reasons. This is the main reason you would want one, to apply your foundation in a way that has no brush strokes. It actually looks airbrushed, and that's kind of what it's meant to look like. So you want to make sure it's wet. Do not use a dry Beauty Blender. There's never a point to use a dry Beauty Blender. It should always be wet, damp, like squeeze all the water out, but this is damp, and it's winter. My skin's already really dry again. It's already dry, but I'm going to spritz this with, this is the Pacifica Coconut Essence Hydro Mist. So you can actually re-wet this if you want with a facial mist or just to add extra hydration. I've got my foundation here. This is the Josie Maran of Vibrancy. This is another great product for us dry skin people. This has argan oil, and I don't find it's as practical in the summer because it is pretty oily and dewy, but in the winter it's perfect. So here's how I apply my foundation with a Beauty Blender. I actually like to work off of my hand. So I put a few pumps on my hand, clean back of your hand. You can use a palette for this if you want, but you know, your hand's easy. You have it with you at all times, I hope. So I am loading up the bottom end, the rounded part of the Beauty Blender, so that the whole bottom is covered with foundation. Now I'm going to start stippling or bouncing it onto the skin. So I usually start on my chin. I find that's kind of just where I go first. I also feel like this is a great place to start if you want to make sure your foundation's a good match, because you look at your chin to chest transition here, it should look pretty seamless. And I just continue picking up foundation when I'm running out, so reloading your Beauty Blender. I like to twist it in my little puddle of foundation, find that gets it on pretty evenly, and then just continuing to stipple it on. Now I believe if you use a truly damp Beauty Blender and you know, use light motions, your Beauty Blender's not going to eat up all your foundation. I know some people think it does. I don't really have that problem. In fact, I find that it makes a lot of liquid foundations or creams that are a little thick a lot easier to apply. So if it thins them down, I think it's a good thing usually. So I am gonna kind of do this half of my face, and then you can kind of see the difference of the coverage. Now I do concealer after foundation, so I'm going to do it. Just know that that's why I'm not really going up there. And get them on my nose. So I use quite a bit of foundation because I have melasma and I have dark spot. I got lots of stuff to cover. You may not need to reload, but here's our half and half. So here's my Beauty Blender foundation applied side and my bare skin, somebody help this woman side. Okay, so we are ready to do the other side. So I'm gonna put it, pump back of my hand like so, bounce and twist my rounded end in there. and go about stippling. Now, some people like to use the pointed end for the step that I'm doing right now. You can, but I just really feel like this rounded part, it's the largest part of the Beauty Blender, this is the widest part of it, and you're gonna cover a lot of surface area very quickly, therefore your makeup routine is already going faster and easier. So, I don't know, make your life easier, use the bigger end, cover the most surface area, get the most done. Of course, you always want your foundation to look seamless, so I usually take what's left at the end and I drag it down under my jawline. Why do I talk when I do this? Under my jawline, onto my neck, just to make sure that all that color is pulled down where it needs to be. I might go over certain areas I got a little too much foundation on, pick up a little color. But yeah, here is our airbrush-like foundation application with the Beauty Blender. Now we're moving on to concealer. Alright, for concealer, you're going to actually flip the Beauty Blender over and use this end, the pointy end, which is perfect for concealer because it gets right up under your eye. So I am using this CoverGirl True Blend Undercover Concealer. This is a drugstore concealer. I actually really like it. I've been so impressed with it so far. This is Golden Ivory, if you're wondering. So I do apply the product directly to my skin where I want it. I do a little concealer around these areas where I have shadows or darkness. I don't really highlight with it, but I do sometimes, you know, just do this area. And makeup always wears off my nose, so I put a little concealer there. Okay, so we've got our Beauty Blender. It is ready to blend concealer, so I find it works best when you look up. So you may not be able to see what you're doing, but you can feel it. So get it under there and then look up and away from what you're doing so that your under eye area is completely like stretched out and you're not going to be putting makeup on a crease. Probably looks pretty weird. Okay, look at that. Nice bright under eye. And then I usually go on the same side of the face I'm working on and do that nose. And you know, the great thing about the Beauty Blender is it's moldable. I mean, you can pinch this really small if you need to get into a little tiny area. You can just use it as it is, but I mean, it kind of fits your face. It like adapts itself to whatever facial curves you have. We'll do the chin just while we're here. Okay, same thing on the other eye. Look all the way up. Get right up under those lower lashes. I find a lot of people, myself included, do still have a lot of purple and redness right up under our lashes, not just here in the dark circle area. So I like to make sure I take out every bit of that. And I do sort of like bring it up and out. I don't do like the crazy triangle thing anymore, but I like to do a little more lift by putting it on the high point of the cheekbone there and kind of extending it upward. And then we'll do our nose. And at this point, sometimes I do find I use the longest part of the Beauty Blender and kind of just go down the middle of my face with it since it's already sort of that shape. And then, concealer-wise, if you see any blemishes peeking through that you're like, dang it, I still need coverage on that, you can actually just take the little tip of your Beauty Blender, put a little bit of concealer on the very tip and use this to pinpoint conceal, is what it'd be called. So I'm literally like just concealing the areas that I need. I would probably use a little darker one for this, but for the purpose of showing you, and then that is a melasma area that I still see some stuff peeking through, but yeah, you can use this like very, very gently to blend out pinpoint concealing. So once again, the Beauty Blender just coming through for us. Moving right along, we are ready for contour, or you could sub in bronzer here. I'm going to use contour because right now it's winter already. I'm pale, I'm back on like this nutrition program, so I feel like my face is just like puffy. So I have been doing some cream contour. It just makes me feel better. And honestly, that's the only reason to do anything in makeup, if it makes you feel better. So I am using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Stick Foundation Contour. And this is the color Fawn, which is a great contour color I have found. So I'm going to apply this product directly to my skin the way that I did with concealer, you know, just drawing it right on where I want it. So put it in your contour area. Make sure it's like even, and then a little bit around the hairline. This is obviously dependent on your face shape. If you have a very short forehead, don't even need to do that up there. Nose, totally optional, but you know, while we're here, we'll do it. This does not have to be like precise because we're gonna blend it out. So I do a little bit under my nose just to kind of like visually shorten it. You can do like a little under the lip. And then probably the most important part, if you're contouring, this is probably why. That. So this is how I find where to contour. I actually do that, like sink my face in and then push it back out and kind of see like, that's the part I was losing definition. So like right there. You can do under there if you want, but yeah, I don't do a ton. Like I don't bring it over here because I think unless it's a nighttime thing, you're gonna see that a lot more. So we got our placement on with our cream contour stick. I feel like my Beauty Blender might need a little bit more hydration, so I'm spritzing it again with the that Hydro Mist. Again, you don't have to do that. I just have dry skin and I know that my skin can take more moisture. So I'm using the big end of the Beauty Blender to blend out that contour, and I am still using those bouncing motions. I am not rubbing this. That's going to spread product around. I already precisely placed it exactly where I want it. No point in rubbing it. So just bouncing up here, because you do want to like blend your contour into your hairline, especially if you have dark hair like me, you can do that. If you have blonde hair, well, be careful. Maybe put a finger here to do that. But you can kind of bounce and pull back, I'd say. That would be okay to do there. And working our way around the forehead. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Okay. Now we're going to blend, and for here, if you want to use any sort of motion besides bouncing, I would do bouncing and pulling up, because we're trying to pull up this area of our face in general. I wouldn't want your contour to get low, so I would never have you bounce and pull down, because then you're probably going to drag that part of your face down, which is the opposite of what we're doing here. We'll do the jawline. I know it doesn't make sense to talk while I do it, yet I continue to do it. And for the nose, you are going to want to flip it around because this is a precise area. I don't do a ton of nose contour, so like it's super subtle. That's the way I like it. I always forget to like blend this out. So many times I've been almost done with my makeup and I'm like, oh cool, I have like a brown beard down there, so blend that out. Okay, all done with our contour application. All right, we are now ready for blush. I am using the Milk Makeup Lip and Cheek Stick in Perk, which is the coral color. I also love Work. It's a dusty rose. Those are amazing colors, and this is an amazing product. Honestly, it's one of my favorite things I've discovered in like the last few years, because they are just an excellent, easy to use cream blush that looks natural. So it looks like a deodorant actually. Put that on. But it's big, so like you're gonna probably not need to do a whole lot of swipes, but I put the product right on my cheek like that. And then I think I'm gonna blend it out before I do the other side, just because I wanna make sure that the blush is really like melting into my skin versus sitting on top. That's the beauty of cream blush. I mean, you use it because you want it to look the most natural, I would say. You can smile if you need to, and sometimes I'll do a stippling motion to add a little more with this too. Blend that out, big side of your Beauty Blender. And you'll see that I am reserving certain things for certain areas. All right, and the beauty of this product is it is a lip and cheek stick, as it says, so you can actually put it on your lips too. So I'll just do that for fun. If you feel like you still want a little more color, you can always just twist your Beauty Blender directly onto your cream stick product and stipple a little more. That's the nice thing about it. It picks up product nicely, it lays it down nicely. It's just the perfect beauty tool. I like a lot of blush, especially in the winter, because we need it. And I really feel like for my face, my complexion, and hair color and all that, it just is the one thing that makes my face come alive, and it's like, wow, she's living. Now we're moving on to highlighter. So I am using the Glossier Play Night Shine, and what color is this? Pale Pearl. So it is the, I believe it's the lightest shade. I'm going to use its nice little doe foot applicator and just dot it right on where I want. I should do like 4 dots on that part. I'm gonna rehydrate this Beauty Blender again, just cause I want to. And I'm using the pointy end, but I'm kind of using the side of it, not the actual point. I'm going to lay it like this way. This just helps me control the area that I'm at. So I find these highlighters, the night shines, they dry pretty quick, so you need to work quickly. That's why I'm doing one side before I even apply it to the other. But it's very pretty. I do like these. I guess the only thing I don't like is, yeah, that they dry really quickly, so you just gotta work fast. And you can, of course, apply these to your other highlight areas. So above the Cupid's bow, you can do it like on your brow bone if you like that, or even like a little bit above. Nose, I'm pretty conservative with that. I might just do a tiny bit. I really don't love nose highlight for myself. And I don't know, just extra credit there. So, gonna blend them out. All right, it's working for us. We turn our face to see if the highlight is picking up the light correctly. It is, we enjoy it. We're ready to move on. Okay, now for the stuff that you may not think that you can do with a beauty blender, especially a damp beauty blender. Given that we've used it to apply all the liquids and creams, we're actually going to apply powder with it now. So you can use setting powder with this, and by the end of your makeup application, it's not as wet anyways, so don't worry that you're like putting a wet sponge into dry powder. It's okay. So I'm using the Lawless Seal the Deal setting powder. I've actually really been enjoying this. This is kind of like a new to me brand. And I put my powder in the lid. I dip the pointed end in there because I'm going to set my under eye concealer first. And if nothing else, this is what you would want to set. Before I set it, I'm going to look up and smooth out with my finger because there may have been like a little crease that formed. Same thing, look up and away while you do it. Don't press too much on here, especially if you are a woman of a certain age. I'm gonna be 36 next month. So, I mean, I'm not trying to add more dryness in my under eye area. So like, just put enough powder to set it, but we are not baking. And now you can flip your beauty blender over, twist the end of it in your powder, and set your other areas. I'm not gonna set my entire face, especially in the winter. I just have not been using powder all over, just more like in my T-zone, in the center of my face, where you have more oil glands, where your face is going to get shiny, but I don't really need to set out here. I definitely don't want to set that highlighter because that's going to take away that effect. So kind of just the center of your face and your under eye is where you would want to set if you're normal to dry skin. If you're oily, sure, set wherever you want to set. But now we've set our face with powder with the Beauty Blender, and I have one more use to show you. So I am going to use the setting spray. I'm using the Urban Decay Chill. That is similar to All Nighter, but this one has a temperature control apparently, and it's better for dry skin. So this is kind of a whole dry skin routine too, isn't it? So I'm going to use this straight from the bottle, but then I'm going to show you what I use the Beauty Blender for with setting spray. So I sprayed it on there. Now, if there's certain areas that you find you get smile lines or creases, you're gonna press the setting spray into those spots just to make sure that it's setting in there. So yeah, sometimes I just kind of use this to press in. I guess if you really want to add more, you could spray onto the Beauty Blender and drop setting spray on the floor and press into those areas of your face. We just used our Beauty Blender for 7 different steps in our beauty routine, and if you don't think you need one by now, well, go back and watch the video again because you totally need one. Look how I didn't pick up a single brush for that. Thank you so much for watching this video. I truly hope it was helpful. You learned some new stuff, or you like remembered, oh yeah, you can do that with a Beauty Blender. Why don't I do that anymore? So I hope to make more videos when I feel like it, and I hope you'll be here to watch them. Bye-bye. Do you like my face better now?
What's that look?
Just like the power of transformation, you've got to be impressed with this.
More like the power of seduction.
Oh well.
Those are the...
Look, that's a bonus, man. But seriously though, like, you saw like, what I look like.
Those are like...
Hey.
Happy holiday.
Welcome back. I literally haven't uploaded a video for 7 months and I act like nothing happened. What's up?
It took a little bit of a break, y'all.
Yeah, I literally have a different room. I multiplied my cats by 2.
30.
I like a little pink nose. That's a very beautiful blush color. If I ever had a makeup line, you know there would be like William blush, what would it be? Toe Bean's black eyeliner. So many possibilities. Cause she's a cat person.